Is the Umidigi A5 Pro a good phone for you? Well, in this video, we're going to find out. Follow me on Instagram at KevinBreezeTV. Please join the Kevin Breeze Tech community on Facebook to chat about budget smartphones, ask questions, and help others. Hi everyone, this is Kevin here, coming at you with my Umidigi A5 Pro review. Now, by the time you're done watching this video, you're going to learn quite a bit about this device as I'm going to go over all of the major things that you need to know about it, so that when it comes time for you to potentially buy it, you'll be able to make a very informed purchasing decision. Now, currently, this device is available for $99 over at Amazon. However, I've heard that pretty soon it will receive a price increase, potentially to $119.99. That's because the $99 price is the introductory price for the phone. Another thing I want to mention too is that Umidigi kind of has a track record of having their devices go out of stock and then having them be out of stock for at least a week or two before they replenish that supply with more units. So if you currently see this phone in stock on Amazon, I would recommend buying it as soon as you can, because it's very likely that very soon from then, the device will be out of stock again, and you'll have to wait until it's back in stock. So if you were planning on getting this phone in maybe a few days from now, or pretty soon, but you see that it's in stock right now, then I would just go for it. Another interesting thing is that this device was originally launched on AliExpress, which is another e-commerce platform. And during the launch period, which was a 2-day period, Umidigi sold 10,000 units of the A5 Pro. So clearly this device is a huge hit. I think a lot of people are scooping this up because it really packs in a ton of great features and impressive specifications for such a low price tag. Now, this device is available GSM unlocked, and what that means is that it's not tied to any carrier. You can easily switch from carrier to carrier, but in the US, you can only use this with GSM carriers. So if you use AT&T or T-Mobile, or Metro by T-Mobile, or Cricket, or even Straight Talk, you're going to have no problem using 4G LTE with this device, and overall, this device will work really well with those carriers. However, if you use Sprint or Boost Mobile, you're not going to be able to use this phone with those carriers. However, if you use Verizon, you'll get partial compatibility in a lot of areas, especially kind of the more urban areas. You will be able to use your data and everything, but this phone does not have all of the Verizon bands inside of it. So if you're in other areas, like rural areas, you are going to have some issues and you might not have the best experience with this device on Verizon. So if you are a Verizon user, I recommend getting something else instead of using the A5 Pro, but just keep in mind that there will at least be some Verizon compatibility with it. And switching from carrier to carrier with this phone is super easy. All you have to do is literally pop out your old SIM card and put in your new one. It's that simple. Now, this device features a 6.3-inch display, which is truly massive. It comes in at 1080p with a 19.5 by 9 aspect ratio, so it's really crisp and clear with great colors, and just the fact that you can get a 1080p display for around $100 with a smartphone is truly incredible. We haven't seen this in the past. Umidigi really is redefining what a budget smartphone is with this very high resolution display on the phone. And the reason why they're able to do this is because they use a lot of the same components in their different devices. So because of that, they get really good economy of scale with it. So they're able to buy these displays for very good rates so that they can pass on that savings to you. In addition to that, this brand has grown organically and they don't pump a lot of money into the traditional expensive advertising techniques. Instead, they rely more on word of mouth, so they don't have to spend a ton of money on marketing either. So unlike brands like Samsung and even LG, where they spend a lot of dollars on advertising, Umidigi doesn't. So once again, Umidigi is able to pass that savings on to you. But the display looks great. It's super crisp. It has great colors as well. It's nice and bright. And what's nice about that 19.5 by 9 aspect ratio is that it's kind of tall and slim. That's good because it makes the phone easier to hold. So even if you have smaller hands, which I don't, I have pretty big hands, but even if you have smaller hands, it's still easy to hold and use the device. But at the same time, this is really great for social media and going on YouTube and watching YouTube videos and browsing the web, and anything where a tall display with a lot of space is really going to enhance your user experience. The display on this is great, one of the best displays that I've seen for a phone at this price tag, so I really applaud Umidigi for that. Now this phone does feature a teardrop notch at the top, which is another great thing to see. Of course, notches were originally introduced with the iPhone X, but that notch is super wide. This notch has a very small teardrop design that really is the best of both worlds. Because of it, we get really good screen-to-body ratio, but at the same time, the notch is super slim and does not impede on the user experience at all. In addition to that, it's really best to have smaller notches, especially with Android, because your notification icons will be at the top, and this really leaves a lot of empty space for those icons so that you know what notifications you currently have. In addition to that, on the right side, there's plenty of space for other device-related icons related to different system tasks, whether that's muting the phone or different things like that. So overall, a really great design. We do have a little bit of a bigger chin here on the bottom, but still, it's pretty small. And with the phone, we do get a very nice screen-to-body ratio, which makes the phone easier to hold, and it gives you a larger display and a smaller footprint. Now up top here, we have a 16 megapixel front-facing camera, which is truly outstanding. It's a good camera. Later on in the video, I'm going to be doing a photo and video test, so keep watching for that part of the video so that you can decide on your own what you think of the photo and video quality from the device. Now this color of the phone is the crystal blue color. It's available in this color and black. But overall, it's a really cool color. It's kind of a multi-tone color because as you tilt the device around, the color changes. So it just looks really cool and unique and truly looks premium. Now the Umidigi A5 Pro features 32 gigabytes of internal storage with the ability to expand that with a micro SD card. Now it would have been nice to kind of see a little bit more internal storage, maybe 64 gigs, but still, at this price tag, 32 gigs is not bad at all. And of course, you can always pop in a micro SD card to expand that storage. Of course, it's not as good as internal storage, but still, it's better than nothing so that you can load up as much content as you want. Now, this device does not have wireless charging, but we do have a fingerprint sensor on the back side. It works really well too. It's nice and quick with unlocking the phone. And if you're not as big into doing the fingerprint sensor thing, or if you just want an additional way to unlock your phone beyond the PIN code, you can actually use Face Unlock with this phone as well. So you have multiple ways to unlock the phone beyond the PIN code, so that's really great to see. Now, also on the back is the camera module, and this is something that is very unique with the phone in this price range because it's a triple camera setup. So the main camera on the top is 16 megapixels. The secondary camera in the middle is the depth sensing camera at 5 megapixels. And the camera on the bottom is the wide-angle camera. So yes, despite this phone having a very low price tag, it does have a wide-angle camera. You'll see quality samples of that later on in the video. There is a little bit of room for improvement, I won't lie. They definitely need to probably roll out a software update to make this even better. But the fact that this does have a wide-angle camera is great to see. That's really a good thing. Now, some people have commented on other Umidigi videos that I've put out in the past, claiming that the depth sensing camera, that secondary camera, is just there as a cosmetic piece and is not a real camera. Because people say that when they cover up that camera, you don't see a finger in the way. And this camera is not an artificial camera. This camera is not there just for show. It's a real camera. Other brands do this as well. This camera does not actually take photos. It just is there for depth sensing. And that's the truth. Other brands do this as well. ZTE does it, for example. And it's not deceptive at all. This is a depth sensing camera. It's not a secondary camera in the sense that you actually take photos with it. It's there for the bokeh mode, and all of the actual image capturing, as far as taking the photo itself, goes through the main camera on the top. So you do get bokeh mode, of course, with the phone, and that is similar to portrait mode if you are an iPhone user, so that's great to see as well. Now, this device features 4 gigabytes of RAM, which is really good to see. 4 gigs is awesome. It has the MediaTek Helio P23 processor. Now, if you've used MediaTek processors in the past, please remove all memories of that from your mind because they've come a long way in a very short period of time. They've rolled out these Helio processors, with this being the P23, and it actually performs really well. It is very comparable to the Qualcomm Snapdragon 450, at least this one is. So you're going to get good performance with the P23, and you're definitely going to like it. So don't be scared off or nervous or concerned that this has a MediaTek processor, because MediaTek actually makes some good stuff now. And that's a good thing, because we need competition in the marketplace. We can't have Qualcomm just dominating everything. Now, video recording with the Umidigi A5 Pro maxes out at 1080p at 30 frames per second. You can take videos with both the main camera and the wide-angle camera. You'll see samples of that later on in the video, like I mentioned. Now, this phone features a 4,150 milliamp hour internal battery, which is a very good, beefy battery. So you're going to get very good battery life with this device. The software on here is Android 9 Pie, which is the latest version of Android. In addition to that, this device has a stock build of Android on it. So there is no bloatware here. You are getting a full stock experience, which is another awesome thing because I'm a big fan of stock Android. So if you are too, then you're definitely going to like the Umidigi A5 Pro. Now that we've gone over the specs of the Umidigi A5 Pro, let's take a look at the hardware. Now I already kind of went over the hardware on the front of the phone with that teardrop notch at the top, the 6.3-inch display coming in at 1080p with the 19.5:9 aspect ratio. So let's move on to the sides of the phone. On the left side, we have just the slot for the micro SD card and SIM card. Now this phone has a metal build around the side, so this is a metal band going around the phone, which is great to see. That's a very high-end attribute that you typically don't see on phones in this price range. So good job, Umidigi, with picking top-notch materials for the A5 Pro. Taking a look at the right side, we have the volume rocker and the power button. On the top of the phone, we have nothing. And on the bottom, we have the speaker, we have the 3.5mm headphone jack, the microphone, and a micro USB port. Now I know some of you are going to be disappointed that this phone does have a micro USB port, but it is one of the compromises that you have to take with this device being as inexpensive as it is. I definitely wish it had USB-C, but you can't get everything at such a low price. I'm sure a lot of you have micro USB cables lying around, so at least you don't have to go out and buy more USB-C cables. You can just use your existing micro USB cables. Now, taking a look again at the back side of the phone, we just have that really phenomenal crystal blue color. Looks really nice with the Umidigi logo in the corner there. You can actually see me through the reflection as well. We have the fingerprint sensor, camera module, and the flash, of course. And you can see as I tilt the phone, the back looks like different colors here. So the colors do change as you tilt the back of the phone. Overall, this feels like a super premium design. This definitely does not feel like a $99 phone, or maybe even $119.99 once that price is increased with it. So great job, Umidigi, with a great build quality with the A5 Pro. Now this phone is going to be able to handle a variety of different games. It's going to handle Temple Run, of course, one of my favorite games out there. But you'll also be able to play PUBG, not at the best ability. It doesn't perform as good as maybe some higher end phones like the Umidigi F1 or F1 Play, but you can do PUBG. You can also do, of course, games like this. You can do Candy Crush. You can do kind of lower end games as well. So it's not going to be a gaming powerhouse, but you are going to be able to play some lighter games on it with no problems at all. If you're a big fan of Instagram, then I have some good news for you. Instagram runs really well on this phone. So if you want to watch your stories or watch other people's stories, you can do that very easily through here. Scrolling is super smooth. You can easily record video content and photos as well. So, hey everyone, this is Kevin here filming a video with the Umidigi A5 Pro. This is Kevin here filming a video with the Umidigi A5 Pro. This is Kevin here filming. So as you can see, it works very well for that. So I'm glad that Instagram runs really well on this phone. Like I mentioned, I do have an unboxing video on the channel. I probably should put out the review video because I've had this phone already for a few months. So this phone is a great device for watching YouTube videos. I actually have it cropped in right now for the full viewing effect, but you can of course crop it down to the original if you want better resolution with it. But you can watch videos on here in 1080p. And I'm actually really impressed with the speaker quality on this phone as well. I wasn't sure how that was going to be, just because it is such an inexpensive device, but the speakers do sound pretty decent. Of course, the speaker quality is not going to be as good as what you find with flagships like the LG G8, Samsung Galaxy S10, or iPhone XS, but you shouldn't expect that either for a $100 phone. Now, I'm not going to do a full tour of the camera application because there's no reason to. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I want to show you how to access that wide-angle photo mode. So it's basically this button here at the top. So you tap on that, and it switches you to the wide-angle camera. Of course, it's hard to tell that it is wide-angle here since I'm at this desk, but it is using that wide-angle camera. Of course, you're not getting as good of a megapixel count with it because it is limited at 5 megapixels. But if you switch over to the main camera, of course it is 16 megapixels, but it's not wide angle. So for whatever the situation is that you're taking a photo in, you can choose on your own which camera you want to use. Let's now take a look at the photos taken with this phone. I am super impressed with the photos that this phone has been able to take, in all modes for that matter. The photos are super crisp and clear. Maybe the only critique that I would have is that for the main camera, it seems like the photos are a little bit yellow. I don't know why, but still, even despite these photos being a little on the yellowish side, they are super clear. You can really zoom in deep and it maintains a really good quality here. So definitely some of the best looking photos that I've ever seen with a $100 smartphone. Again, you can't forget this phone is literally only $100. So I am super impressed by that. So you're able to get nice and crisp and clear photos. I did notice that with the wide angle lens, the colors are a lot better, a lot more natural. But of course, you don't have the crispiness that you get with the 16 megapixel camera because the wide angle camera is 5 megapixels. But still, you get really good, usable photos with that 5 megapixel wide angle camera. Another thing that this phone is great for are close-up photos. It's really able to take nice close-ups of flowers and different things like that. So that's really good. I also used the bokeh mode to take a photo of a flower as well, and that did a nice job at blurring out the background. So I was really able to take some great looking photos that are definitely keepers. Now the front-facing camera takes good photos as well, pretty good. Nothing overly special, but still pretty decent and definitely good enough for a $100 smartphone. Now I'm going to go over to the video recording samples from the phone, and then we're going to talk about that. Hi everyone. This is Kevin here, coming at you with a test video from the Umidigi A5 Pro. This is in 1080p, using the main lens on the device. And what's really cool is that we actually get autofocus with the phone too in video mode. Now, I'm taking this video after the first update that the device has received, and that update did address the camera. The update also came out very shortly after the phone was launched, but there might be some reviews out there on YouTube right now showing the video and photo quality from this device before that update was implemented, so keep that in mind. But you can see that there's a really nice and quick autofocus ability with the camera on this device, which is actually kind of unique because in a lot of budget phones, you don't actually get autofocus. You have to tap on the screen to focus on different objects. So great job Umidigi with implementing a really nice and fast autofocus ability here. Now this is a test video with the wide angle camera. Let me know in the comments if you notice a difference in the coloring. At least on the viewfinder, it seems like the wide angle video has more natural looking colors than the standard video. And they do use different lenses, so that's one thing. Looks like there is no autofocus, or focus at all for that matter, with the wide angle camera, but that's not what it's really designed for anyway, so it makes sense. Hi everyone, this is Kevin here doing a test video with the front-facing camera on the Umidigi A5 Pro. Let me know what you think of the video quality. Let me know. Here's another wide-angle video from the phone. Video recording was definitely a nice surprise with the Umidigi A5 Pro. I thought the mic quality was pretty decent. The only thing is that when taking videos in the wide-angle mode, it seems like the frame rate isn't quite as good as it could be. But maybe that's something they can fix in a software update, but honestly I don't really mind. A lot of people aren't going to typically take video with the wide-angle camera because it is only 5 megapixels. They're going to take video with the 16 megapixel camera. So for the most part, I think that the video quality is definitely acceptable. If anything, it exceeds my expectations. I think they could do maybe one final software update on this phone, maybe just doing a couple more tweaks to the cameras, maybe adjusting the main camera so that it's a little less yellow. I think that would definitely help out this device a lot. A nice surprise too is that the device has autofocus in video mode. That's something that we don't find that often with budget smartphones, so you don't have to tap on the screen every time you want to refocus. So definitely a great thing to see there. So do I recommend the Umidigi A5 Pro? And the answer to that is yes. I think it is an outstanding budget phone. For the price, you really can't beat it. Of course, there are phones that are a little bit more expensive, like the Umidigi Power, which is a great option. The Blue G9 is another great option, but you're gonna be paying a bit more money for those phones. So at this rock bottom, dirt cheap price that the Umidigi A5 Pro is being sold at, whether that's the $99 price tag for the initial launch or the $119.99 later on, you're gonna get a lot of phone for the money. It truly is a great value. So Umidigi knocked it out of the park with this one. Like I said, maybe a few little adjustments can make it even better, but for the most part, it's great. Call quality is really good as well. I use this phone with Cricket Wireless. I took the SIM out though for this video so I wouldn't get calls and texts and all that stuff, but it is really good with Cricket. I'm sure it's also very good with Metro by T-Mobile if you want to stick with the prepaid route. But overall, it is an outstanding phone, good build quality. Having USB-C on the bottom would have been nice, but I can live without it, especially with all of these other great features like the good build quality, the great cameras, having 4 gigabytes of RAM with the phone, and having the pretty snappy and well-optimized Helio P23 processor. So a lot of good stuff here with the Umidigi A5 Pro. Really curious to know your thoughts about the phone and if you are considering buying one or if you already own one. Definitely let me know in the comment section below about that, as I'm really interested to hear your opinions about the device. But this is Kevin here. This is the Umidigi A5 Pro, and if you're wanting to buy this, take a look at the link in the video description. If it is in stock right now, then you definitely are going to want to pick it up before it goes out of stock again, because these are flying off of the warehouse shelves. It is a super popular device. Like I mentioned, they sold 10,000 of them at launch, and that does not shock me at all because it really is a winner. But thanks for watching this video. This is Kevin here. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more videos about the Umidigi A5 Pro and other budget smartphones. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.